Well, hey, Facebook world, back again. I've got Sarah and Jessica with Kendrick Law Group here, two of Central Florida's top real estate attorneys. They also have a title company, Champion Title, which has several locations throughout the area. And just wanted to have them on to get some questions answered for everybody out there. I know with everything going on, people are worried about the mortgage and the rent extensions, the delays, what's legal, what's not legal. Uh, does it involve commercial? Does it involve private equity or hard money? SBA loan questions, force majeure, and also rushing title, the legalities behind all that. So ladies, I know you guys have your hands full with this shift. So I'll let you guys take it from there.
Well, thanks, Dan, for having us. I think it's kind of cool how you just like switch your platform so fast to get online and hearing all the people you've had. I mean, I don't know if I like how we followed like the amazing pastor who's already raised like $2,500 for nonprofit and feeding the homeless and those less fortunate. So
that's awesome, right?
It's awesome. It's just a hard act to follow. But I mean, I think the main thing, the typical lawyer thing is we're going to give general advice, but we're not giving any specific advice. So if people need specific advice for specific situations, they need to call their attorney or us, and we're happy to help. But we're just kind of do an overview. So where do you want to start, Dan?
What have you been? I don't know. What are you and Sarah? What have you guys seen as being the most important thing that's coming across, or something that has been the biggest question or concern of anybody that you guys are getting questions from?
I think we're getting them kind of across the board. A lot of the stays and the eviction notices and SBA loans they're popping up here or there. But I think, especially on the title side, a lot of people are asking, like, does my closing, I'm closing on a house, I'm selling a house, does it automatically get pushed? Does this cause it to be pushed out? And the answer is no. Us as attorneys and title, really, we have no authority to push. We go based on the contract. The only reasons to push are kind of still similar with the same reasons they've been able to push in the past, lending issues, appraisal issues. I mean, there really hasn't been what we've seen a lot of stays. They're still able to appraise. They're still able to inspect. Lenders are still passing it through. So unless the lender's having an issue with funding or something, which to date we haven't seen, which is great, there's not really reason for it to be pushed. And especially with COVID-19 and safety precautions, there's no reason for that to be pushed, because we are able to utilize digital platforms, mobile notaries, have outside closings, drive-through closings, don't even leave your car and sign it, to really keep that social distancing and that essential work at hand. And I know Sarah's really been getting a lot of questions on force majeure and does it apply here? So Sarah, you want to take that over?
Well, and a lot of the questions that are coming up aren't necessarily, we haven't seen a lot of closings be pushed or delayed. We've had some buyers come back and have questions as to whether, does this give me an out on my contract? And truly, it doesn't necessarily. It's force majeure, unless it's called out specifically. There's a lot of different ways to write a clause, but the standard clause in the FAR bar contract doesn't address that, this global pandemic automatically gives you a right to close your contract. It's, could it be frustration of purpose? There's a lot of different contractual scenarios that it could be, but is it truly whether you're going to argue that just because you may have changed your mind or risk your escrow, when you truly can close? Because we can do remote notarization. We can close without you having, your lender has approved you, the banks are still funding, we're recording, our underwriters have, insured across the gap if recording offices are closed. But, for the most part in Central Florida, even if the offices are physically closed, we're still able to e-record. And I've been seeing deeds come back faster than they were prior to this. I'm amazed at how fast some things are coming back.
There's no fine print that says if a pandemic happens, you're free of all
Well,
this?
honestly, some force majeure clauses changed in the advent of SARS a few years ago to include, biological and health pandemics. So it's you can word it. That's why custom contracts are great, because you can word your way around just about anything. But no, it's not an automatic out. And they have come out with the COVID addendum that allows for extension of certain closing dates for certain parameters. But even that states, if you're approved and you're ready to go and everybody's ready to close, it's not an out to closing. Which I think is great, because real estate is still really, from what we've seen just with the agents that we work with at Champion and just on the law side, things are humming along, and it's great for the industry. It's great for our economy to keep at least the sector up and going.
Yeah, so that's great information. So let's say I'm a homeowner and I have a mortgage to pay, but right now with the shift I'm struggling, or I'm renting an apartment or a single family from somebody, and I see that I don't have to pay. What are the legalities behind that? What's the truth? What's not the truth? Can I just say, okay, sorry, if you want your money, too bad? Or what's protected there?
No. So I'll go on the rent part right now. Okay, one, I'd always say talk to your landlord first. Like, the people that just unilaterally decide, that's when you put yourself in the worst conditions. But, just because courts are not going to go through with evictions right now doesn't mean you're lifted of your obligation to pay rent. You really need to make your best effort to pay anything you can, and or talk to your landlord about that. That means they can't kick you out next week, because the courts literally won't hear an eviction during this period. But the second that's lifted, they can. You're going to be kicked out if you don't pay your rent. So I'm just staying on the rent section, and I'll let Sarah talk on the mortgage section and balloon. But highly encourage everyone to keep paying your rent, and or talk to your landlord, because I know a lot of landlords are being very generous right now and trying to find out, give provisions to help people that maybe lost their job or are waiting on unemployment or some sort of stimulus check to help with that. But that really, keeping the house over your head is really number one. And, I would really highly say try to pay what you can and talk to your landlord. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that's only on residential. Commercial is a whole separate beast. So if you're a business and commercial, you need to reach out to your landlord also and discuss a lot of that. But, you have longer term leases and stuff, so there might be some more creativity allowed there. But just like anything, those landlords are a business, just like you're a business, and, it's give and take, and everyone's hurting in this economy. So I think the biggest thing is that communication up front, as opposed to just defaulting and thinking someone else is going to bail you out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I got to imagine there's investors out there where the people paying rent are like, no, I saw on the TV, I don't have to. And so it's good to get that information out there. And I'd imagine on the mortgage side, you're seeing some of the same stuff, Sarah?
Well, yeah, and it's important to really, like you said, I saw on TV that I don't have to pay my mortgage, or I can do any of these things. It's really important to kind of educate yourself and know what exactly you're looking at, because a forbearance is different than forgiveness. It's not the same thing. Chances are, the way that the CARES Act is worded and the provisions that are out there is, if you have a mortgage from a bank, or you qualify, because it's for federally backed mortgage securities or serviced by, and you're eligible for a 30-day forbearance, and it can be extended up to 2 times. So potentially you could have 90 days where you don't have to pay your mortgage, which is great if you understand that at the end of those 90 days, you're going to have to pay that entire amount that you did not pay for that 90 days. So if your mortgage payment is $2,500 a month and you forego it for 3 months, then at the end of that 90 days, you have a $7,500 payment due.
So they're not giving you an extension and putting it on the rears. They're asking for it immediately.
Yeah. So the way it's written is, you forbear for 90 days and then you have to pay. Now that may vary with it, but that's, you need to call and talk to your lender. It's not just don't pay.
Yeah. Every lender is different. That's the standard of it. Some will then put it over 24 months. Some will put it at the end, but what you don't just want to assume that you're not paying a mortgage for 3 months, because it is coming back. You're not just getting money written off.
And being that it has to be federally backed,
Yeah,
private money and hard money are.
I mean, that would be at the discretion of the individual private lender, but I had a call with a client today that had that same question, and it was, no, it's not automatic, because he was upset that his lender wouldn't give him a forbearance. And there was, it's not anything that's automatic. It has to be negotiated like anything else, and the terms of how you're going to repay it. I mean, that's it. The one advice I think I would give to anybody, any of my clients or anybody, is don't be an ostrich. Don't put your head in the sand. Proactively look at what your options are, especially, if you have been furloughed, or if you are in the midst of some sort of, complicated, complex transaction, whether it's buying real estate, business transactions, any of that. You got to get out in front of it and talk about what your options are, because just ignoring it isn't going to benefit anybody.
Yeah, people just think it's not going to happen to them. So I know with everything going on right now, there's a lot of small business owners that are kind of in between. Do I SBA loan? Do I do the PPP with the private paycheck, which we had someone on there? What are the legalities about it? Where are they protected? Is that something that you guys have been getting some feedback on?
Yeah, I mean, we've been dealing with a lot of our business clients, helping them through
Look,
that.
a puppy dog.
I'm shocked a kid hasn't run through yet. I mean, I got two that barely have clothes on all day long, and Sarah's was closed and doing schoolwork in the beginning of our Zoom earlier today. He seemed like an angel at that point. So
Early.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Molly needs her 5 minutes of fame.
Here's our new digital at-home working world. But I mean, I think, there are, yes, are there a lot of, this is taking longer than we thought, this is a little more cluster, what do I do, how do I get money fast? Because small businesses, and the definition of a small business in the government's eyes right now is 500 under. Really small is 50 under. But they need the money now. They don't have millions of dollars sitting in the bank when something like this happens. And, the primary reason to get the money is to keep people employed, pay them, don't get them on unemployment. So, I think the best thing, not the government, and I'm sure there's 80 people that can disagree with me, but the best thing that the government is trying to roll out and slowly rolling out is the PPP loan. The goal of it is to keep people employed. Don't put them on unemployment. Keep them employed. This money is there that, if used properly, is forgivable. So this is the way for the government to fund small businesses and keep their employees. Now, has it been?
Can you do both? Can you do both? Can you do the SBA and the PPP, or do you have to do one or the other?
So you can, but there also are some gray areas, which I'm not an expert in by any means. Right. I haven't read the 864-page CARES Act.
Nor have I.
Yeah, there are a lot of people
not in the bathroom.
Well, right. I usually read a lot of those things, but I have not. So
yeah, I have not had time. But there are a lot of people that are saying it's unsure if you can get both. I do know the emergency bridge loan that's $10,000 goes against your PPP loan. So if you did get that $10,000, and that is a very easy application, that gets deducted from the PPP loan payroll unless you use it for different reasons. So if you use that 10 for mortgage and you use PPP only for payroll, I think then you can get both forgiven. But I'll be honest, we're not the quote unquote experts on it, but are there good resources out there? Of course there are. And I think, there's a lot of accountants that have sat and read through and given out a lot of great resources. And I think that's really number one for businesses and everyone we've talked to is make sure it works with your accountant and what you want and you're set up properly. And that's what you want to do, because some of the loans, the Florida state loan that's up to 50,000, possibly up to 100 is called in a year. It's 0%, but you better pay that back in a year. If not, you're going skyrocketing to 12%. So yes, that does help, but is that reasonable for a small business to be able to utilize that and pay that back, or it might hurt in the long run?
Yes,
same with the SBA loans. There are interest on them. They're lower interest. Do you need that money for this? it worth it? I mean, I think it's a lot of analysis that you're looking for as a business. Maybe furlough is proper for your business right now if you're not having business, business come in to be able to fund that, So, I mean, it's really on a case-by-case basis.
If you only have, 6, 7, 8 employees, is it worth going through it? You right?
I mean, I'm a strong believer, and Sarah is too, because we have 2 companies and we have very loyal and amazing employees. So, of course, 100% ran to PPP right away. We are staying busy, humming along, trying to keep up at the pace that we were before, but it's just not feasible. There are some areas of law that are going to die in this period. So we're doing everything to take that extra step to make sure we can keep every employee, because they are amazing employees. We would forego way other things in ourselves before we're going to lose some of our amazing employees. So I think these are the programs to keep that, so businesses are able, when things open back up, and hopefully that's sooner than later, businesses are able to kickstart right then, jump in, have their employees ready, because by furloughing them and having them maybe go do something else, you're not guaranteed getting that amazing employee back. So, I mean,
I think that speaks a lot to your character, because, I mean, obviously I've known you guys for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, since we all started on Make-A-Wish. And I mean, I'm always been a fan, and I know how well you guys treat your people. So that just shows to your character. And I know that anybody out there that is looking for a real estate attorney, what are, I mean, they're the best, obviously, in my humble opinion. And I know that what other avenues of law is offered through Kendrick, that if people need to reach out for different reasons or anything, what would they reach out to you guys for?
So we do real estate and business and estate planning, comprehensive estate planning, everything from basic incapacity plans, which have kept us really busy right now, asset protection, wills, trusts, estates. And we also have an amazing family law team and some litigation and probate.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that need a family law lawyer
after this. Yes.
Yes. So I think that's going to happen a lot.
Quarantine rules apply.
That's quarantine.
I think a lot of people are figuring out who they live with, but hopefully it comes out in the best.
So there's a lot of togetherness.
Yes, that's one
but
thing.
I mean, honestly, that even, it's kind of an area that's quiet right now, but there's a lot of time sharing issues that are popping up. Like, what do I do when a kid's going back and forth between houses, and is it safe and stuff? So, I mean, that's even a fascinating topic that the courts are putting out a ton of recommendations on, which I think is great. But
I mean, there's cases, I saw that there's a case where in a first responder spouse, his wife has taken him to court because she doesn't want him having the child during this epidemic. Raises a ton of really interesting issues.
It's really interesting. And
yeah, I mean, I had Dr. Albert on.
Yeah.
He was incredible. I mean,
he's like an expert in this at this point.
I mean, it's like over 1,000 views on it. Yeah, so we're gonna get back with him too, man. That was awesome. Thank you for having him reach out to me. I know, I think people have questions about unemployment and all that other stuff, so I need to find somebody to do that. But as far as before we go away now, because I know you guys want to get back home.
So I think that real fast, the best person to talk through even the loans and like that stuff is Adam Losey. He has studied every bit of it. I have recommended him to clients. He's an attorney. He's brilliant. We love him. If you can, I'll connect you. But I mean, he was way beyond the PPP and understanding it for like way beyond anyone in this area.
And then if you ladies, one of you, when we get off, maybe throw your information on there so how people can reach you if they need you in these times. Maybe they'll have some questions. And then I know big thing is anti-gala, Pace for Girls, Make-A-Wish. I know those are 3 things that are near and dear to your heart. And how can people reach out and help in those avenues?
So I think right now, Make-A-Wish to me is very passionate, and they're doing a great job staying afloat in this time. But I truly think that the biggest need right now is organizations like PACE, because they have, you know, their girls in their program that really need the support at this point, you know, and your pastors.
Schools are not able to get to the center because schools are closed. So that is funded by Orange County Public Schools, and it's a functioning school that these girls attend, takes them out of what is a lot of times not a safe environment and gives them somewhere they are every day, and now they're not able to get there. We've had some really, really generous grants that have allowed us to get technology into the girls' hands so that they can keep up with their schooling during this time. But a lot of them are lacking in basic needs, and that's really what we've been trying to raise money and raise awareness and collect donations for throughout this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think some good, you know, like you said, technology. I know they're not taking a ton of donations right now, but as we're purging, you know, I had a girlfriend who had a Mac computer that is awesome and ready to use, and she wanted to get it in the right hands. So we're getting it over to PACE, because these girls don't have, you know, a Mac computer sitting around in their house or a laptop to be able to continue down their education and needs, or their children's education. A lot of them also have children and, you know, need that digital ability. So I think especially as you're purging your house, those technology needs are huge. And I know Sarah and Christy Knox and a bunch of others on the board, you know, pulled together even just some basic needs baskets, you know, the things that we take for granted, you know, kind of probably like your pastor's doing for a lot of them, like just basic needs, you know. So I think those are the things to remember in that time, that it's stressful for all. We all have our own individual stresses, but to remember the blessings you actually have and give back to those that are a little less fortunate, even if it's the smallest little thing.
Yeah, well, make sure you guys put a link to PACE and Make-A-Wish, and wherever you guys are looking. I know how big you guys are in the community. I know what you guys do. It's huge. I love you for it, obviously. So,
you too. I swear.
Yeah, I know. I hang out with, I just hang out with you ladies, and it makes me look like I do as much.
Everything.
I just, I just hang out, but it's fun. I'm glad you guys came on. I know you're busy as hell right now, so I do appreciate you. And I'm excited about the drive-through for people. That's pretty cool.
No, it's going to be awesome. It's great.
And you saw I'm trying to get Shay and Andrea to do like a meet the team. Let's get the whole title team on. So I don't know that people see the face of Champion, but do they ever see the engine, you know, the people behind the scenes that are really making it work. So
yeah, those are the true MVPs, are the ones behind the scenes. Like without them, we wouldn't be able to just sit up here and look good and, you know, brag on that. I mean, they're just incredible. So I think the drive-throughs, you know, something cool and creative that our team put together, and, you know, really
Dan Pacheco said that he wants to see you guys in your Halloween outfits inside the drive-through.
I think we can make that happen. The most spot-on outfit we've ever done. I had to look it up. I didn't even know what it was, which goes right along with my
I basically just told her, oh, it's us. It's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys take it easy. And man, I thank you so much for coming on. The dog is wanting your attention behind you.
Yeah. That's her baby. All right. Thanks, Dan, for having us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
All right. See ya.